Hey, what's up, folks? The greatest thing about this hobby is not this random fan behind me, or this ugly mug, or the fact that this camera is from like circa 1963. The greatest thing about collecting money is that you can legit find coins and banknotes right in your pocket across the globe that are worth really, really good money, way more than face value, or are at least collectible. And then, like, the worst thing about this hobby is after you go through your coins or banknotes from the day, whatever, the week, your paycheck, whatever it is, if you don't find anything that's worth more than face value, you still end up with the money that you started with, which is super awesome. So it's a really fun hobby. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 really valuable dimes, but make sure to check out my other videos. I have hundreds of them that I can, bore you with, that you can check out. That I go through my pocket change. I go through change from the register of my coffee shop at the end of the day, coins, and then just some other weird videos about collectibles and stuff. So check them out if you're into that. Hit subscribe if you enjoy collecting money or really anything weird and oddity stuff. I'm all into that weird stuff. Otherwise, let's get to this video talking about some dimes.
Alright folks, so let's just get into the top 5 most valuable dimes that you should be looking for. Let's start with the 1996 W. It's a really nice dime. The regular collector has probably come across one of these before, and they can be really valuable. You can also get specimens of this coin for a reasonable amount, around the $5 to $10 region in ungraded, circulated low condition. The 1996 W Roosevelt dimes was an issue in 1996 mint sets. It was like a little bonus coin. The total of them was about 1.45 million of them that were minted, and none of them were distributed into regular circulation, but many have been found there. You can find 1996 W dimes that were released later into commerce, usually by people that got the coins and just didn't know what they were after they were busted out of proof sets. Uncirculated specimens of the coins usually are like $10, but this is if they're graded kind of high, usually in the MS60 and plus region, and in upwards of almost $50 to $80 if they're graded even higher. Ungraded coins generally run around $3 to $4 if they're pretty good condition, which is it's still a really good premium over that 10-cent face value. Next on the list is the 1982 P. So 1982s, of course you want to look for like no mint mark Roosevelt dimes. Don't forget to look for the P mint mark from 1982 as well. While the Philadelphia Mint struck almost 520 million of these in 1982, the overall production of mint sets was super low that year and in 1983. So a major source of uncirculated business strike coinage was really low at that time. The mint set was unavailable to collectors, and so the coins from that year are going to be worth more. During that time, there was also kind of a recession going on in the early 80s in America, which gave a larger than usual number of people the reason not to buy and save any real bankrolls or anything like that. So 1982 P Roosevelt dimes are actually quite scarce, and the result are strong prices for these coins. 1982 P Roosevelt dimes usually go for around $1 or $2 in ungraded, really good condition, but they can be in upwards of like $8 to around $20 if they're in high MS grades like 62 and above. They did have one sell that was one of the highest graded ones. It was MS67 Plus FB, and it sold for well over $3,000, which is a crazy premium over 10 cents. Next on the list is the next year, which is 1983 P. And I mentioned this just a second ago, that there was no mint sets produced in the US in 82 or 83. And so for the other reasons I mentioned, I won't repeat those. There's a scarce amount of these out there, and it really drives the price up. Even though there was 647 million Roosevelt dimes struck at the Philadelphia Mint, many of them were not saved in rolls, and so therefore good condition ones are really hard to find. MS64 and 65s go for like $15, but ones of full bands can be significantly more, and on the high end, those sell for around $2,000. As I mentioned before, the other one to look for would be from 1982, and this is a no mint mark. While the United States began planting the Philadelphia or P mint mark on all coins higher than a value of 1 cent in 1980, the practice was still new and stuff. So it was actually a pretty laborious process of working with the dies to produce this mint mark in a strong fashion to be read on the coin. And so there was actually 2 different errors that prevailed from this process due to that labor-intensive need to make the mint mark. There are 2 distinctive varieties of the 1982 no mint mark Roosevelt dime, including a weak strike and strong strike, which you could probably deduce what that means and the difference between them. Now, the exact number of these errors is unknown, but if you just kind of base it off of how long the dies last generally when they make coins, there's probably between 50 and 80,000 of them with strong strikes, and then an unknown number with weak strikes. Now, ones with strong strikes, these would be ones that the mint mark is like basically entirely missing. Those can go for like close to $100. High graded ones go for in the thousands. I think now quite a while ago, like in 2012 or 13, there was an MS-68 that sold for close to $5,000 with a strong strike, no mint mark. So 1982 no mint marks can be really, really valuable. The last on this list is 1965 90% silver transitional heirs, which are really, really neat dimes. Now, the transitional error happened when 90% silver planchets that were used in 1964 were used again in 65. It was common to, I guess, in a sense, reuse planchets, but in this case, it created a completely different type of composition for the coin that was unintended. This was possible because the United States Mint had some 90% silver planchets intended for the previous year dimes, but then designated a 1965 copper nickel clad as the new type of coin that would come out going forward. They're not really sure how many of these transitional errors were made, though the 90% silver 1965 dimes are considered really, really rare, and most of them, even in lower condition, can be worth thousands. One of them back in 2021 through a heritage auction sold for almost $15,000 as a really high-end example. But these 90% silver transitional errors from 65 are really, really awesome and a wonderful addition to your collection if you ever come across one. Well, that sums it up, folks, for 5 really rare dimes to keep an eye out for in your pocket change or when you're kind of just hunting around at coin shops and stuff like that. But let me know what dimes you like to look for in the comments below. I love to read about that stuff. More importantly, I want to know what you've come across in your banknote and coin searches and collectible searches lately. I love reading about that too. But either way, hit subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.